Welcome on in, everybody. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Your Miami Dolphins today takes the New York Jets to Shutout City. They win 30-0 over the New York Jets. Absolutely throttled them. A big take care of business week, a big get right week, a big bounce back week for your Miami Dolphins after their Monday night meltdown. They got it all from everybody today, and they needed a performance like this, man. I didn't like the fact I was on, I do pre-games, WQAM, Game Day Uncensored. We get you ready for each Dolphins game with my guys Omar Kelly and Solana. These guys were telling me, just be happy with any win, Tobin. Be happy with just a squeaker. Just get the win. Get the double-digit wins, which the Miami Dolphins now are at. 10-4 on the season, so they have passed last year's win mark. But I was not for that. This Jets team sucks. Zach Wilson sucks. And they just beat this team by three touchdowns a matter of weeks ago. You're not gonna, with a quarterback who they replaced Zach Wilson with in Tim Boyle, who I know is terrible, but I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the Zach Wilson resurgence like this is gonna be some real thing. No, I needed the Miami Dolphins to go out here and put an absolute ass kicking on the Jets, and that is exactly what they went out there and did this afternoon. And it all started with the defense yet again. Zach sealer it on up. Going out there, recovering a fumble, nearly for a second touchdown in as many weeks. Bradley Chubb, who had a monster game, and Christian Wilkins, who is a menace. They just absolutely annihilated this Jets offensive line. This offensive line didn't know what hit. They're like, oh my God, this is terrifying. And Zach Wilson, who we got to get into, it may have tapped out on his team. There were reports that Zach Wilson was a little bit apprehensive to regain the starting quarterback job for the New York Jets. I think today is probably the reason as to why. But the Miami Dolphins, they get the ball back right on the doorstep. 3 rushes to Raheem Mostert. He eventually gets into the end zone, and the man surfing his way into the record books for the Miami Dolphins as he passes Mark Clayton for all-time total touchdowns on the season, 19 on the year. That would not be his only one on the day, but an absolute masterful season from Raheem Mostert to get himself in there and get the Dolphins on the board with a 7-0 lead. And, we did get a Chase Claypool sighting. Dolphins, got stymied a little bit. We did have an offensive offsides, which has become like the new hip thing for officials to call now all of a sudden. Now everybody's going to be doing it. I will say, though, Robbie chose it. Wasn't even looking at the officials, so I can't really blame the official too much for that one. Either way, Miami Dolphins get themselves in field goal range, and Jason Sanders, he gets them up double digits. Then Bradley Chubb, dub comes in, boom, monster sack. He just many plays on the day that Bradley Chubb was making. He was a monster. He was a monster, and it really, you could just see the confidence of Zach Wilson crumbling at this point. He had no time. He had no shot in hell, and it was really, really impressive to see what this defensive line was able to do from an intimidation standpoint. I know that Jets O-line is an absolute shambles, but these boys eat. They ate today. Zach Sealer, he completely obliterated another drive. Sealer it on up. Got to do it twice. And then after that, this is where the game really turned on its head, because one of the big storylines going into it, no Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was out. The Dolphins were going to be cautious with their star wide receiver, which is certainly going to be an interesting thing, as he had been chasing down history. That's going to be a big ask for him to get to 2,000. But I do ultimately think for a Dolphins team that has been conservative with their injuries all year, if they didn't feel Tyreek was there all the way, this should have been a game they can win without him, and that was the case. But the big thing for me was, hey, can Jaylen Waddle go out here and have a big-time performance? Can he have a star performance? Because we were talking about this guy like he is 1A coming into the season, and I think it's been a nice season for him, going to get to 1,000 yards. He might have actually gotten there today now that I think about it. But, it's not that Jaylen Waddle wasn't going to be in the midst. He's on the doorstep of 1,000 yards. He'll get it next week. But, I do feel like it's been a little bit, I think in Dolphin fans, maybe crazy expectations of him, been a little bit underwhelming. Not today. Today, he was an absolute stud, and that was really made here on the 60-yard touchdown pass. Tua to Waddle, little Bombski, and we got to do a little penguin dance in the end zone. I think it's more like a. It's not sensual like when you get Stephen Ross doing the wall. He's like, ooh, he's very. He seems very into it when he's doing that waddle, and I love the fact that they're going there. And now Garfinkel has to do the waddle with him, of course, because of course, Mr. Ross, we'll all do the waddle. Everybody do the waddle here for Mr. Ross. That dude loves the penguin dance, dude. But this game was basically over from that point on. Tua connecting with his former Alabama teammate, getting himself in a big time connection, and it was a beautiful thing to see. From this point on, Miami Dolphins, they got some monster plays. You had this Zach Wilson. He was running for his life. He had a beautiful breakup by Elijah Campbell. Agba, he was there getting into the sack action. And then with Wilson running for his life, he throws it incomplete. Then they called illegal contact by Kader Kohou, but they pick up the flag. And Tony Romo was, of course, upset by this because, I don't know, quarterback Zach Wilson, he hates the Dolphins. I'm not really sure. So the Dolphins get the ball back, and I would say this is probably the most complete drive of the game for the offense. Some huge third down throws from Tua, multiple ones to Waddle. The play probably of the drive was this beautiful pass to Braxton Berrios, who had to go up and get it, but he lands cheeks in bounds, and the drive is able to continue. They go to a graphic, and they start talking about the AFC hunt. And Tony Romo couldn't wait. Oh, Jim, I can't believe the Bills. They're turning it on. Still alive. And, par for the course with this dude. So what are you going to do? But on a 3rd and 7, Tua finds Waddle over the middle, gets the Dolphins in huge scoring range. Then they go like a little misdirection, go to Mostert. He gets it down to the 3. Next one for him. Boom, into the end zone. 20 touchdowns on the season. Dolphins go up 24-0 with a minute remaining in the half. And yeah, this one looks like it's absolutely over. But then we have an interesting twist from Jetsland. Zach Wilson out of the game. They go to Trevor Siemian, but apparently it was not for performance. They are saying that he went into the locker room to get hydrated. Now, again, I am doing this. I'm not doing this with coaches listening. I'm not really sure if this is being addressed right now, but a very odd thing. So he goes out for hydration, and then after that, they come back from halftime, Jets ball, still no Zach Wilson. You'd figure he'd be hydrated by then. They say, no, out, head injury. However, not a concussion. He is not in concussion protocol. Mind you, he did take a hit, and he did go into the medical tent earlier in the game and did get looked at for a concussion, but apparently passed. Neurologist gave him his helmet back. He was back out there. So I don't know what's out here. I don't want to accuse anybody of quitting if the Dolphins did make Zach Wilson indeed quit football or quit this season, because we know that there were reports that he was apprehensive about taking this gig again. Last week, he had a star-studded week, offensive player of the week. This week, dehydration. I don't know. I don't want to speculate and be a jerk, but I will say I've never heard anything described like that. So going to be very curious to see what the hell that means. Weird. So anyway, that was pretty much the story on this one. Miami Dolphins would not get back into the end zone for the rest of the game. They had a couple of nice drives. Tua had a nice pass to Waddle for like 25 yards. Then you had they were really knocking on the doorstep. They got a couple of penalties from the Jets, but they had to settle for the field goal. And then the Jets were driving with Trevor Siemian. Their one like little sign of life, and Brandon Jones picked them off. Siemian tried to take a shot, and that wasn't going to work out for him. So, Dolphins really got on a drive that started killing the clock as much as they could. Jason Sanders would then end up with another field goal, and Dolphins go up 30-0. You got another monster play from Bradley Chubb, who got a strip sack on Trevor Siemian. So his tremendous day big-time star playing game from Bradley Chubb. He was a stud today. I mean, this is what you wanted from this Dolphins team. Tua was done for the day after that. They bring in Mike White. That was pretty much it. The only other headline the rest of the way was Ethan Bonner, practice squad cornerback. Tangibles. He got on there. And he was he got a nice little pass breakup. And then Brandon Jones had his second interception of the day. That was about all she wrote. Tony Romo, though, they were doing the Super Bowl picture. And of course, Tony Romo couldn't resist talking about how, Jim, if the Bills get in, they're dangerous. I'm telling you, Jim. Oh my God, this guy ridiculous. But this was a huge performance all around, dude. Like, look, the Jets suck, but the Dolphins needed to put a whooping on the Jets after that meltdown in Tennessee. And I do think it shows something that they were able to win a game without Tyreek Hill. They were able to win a game without their starting safeties. They were able to win a game without Xavier Howard. They were dealing with a lot of big-time players out of this game. They were able to win a game with another reconstruction version of the offensive line. For the most part, we're able to, a good Jets front. We're able to keep Tua pretty clean. He got sacked 3 times, so still wasn't like a perfect performance from the boys up front. But even still, it was good enough to balance things out and just absolutely throttle a terrible team. So now we get to see where this goes from here. Doing this before Bills and Cowboys, and we'll see what the stakes are. But the Miami Dolphins' magic number, I believe, was 3. And now it's down to 2. And we'll see what ends up happening with the Dallas result. That's obviously interesting for not only a division rival, but because it's the Miami Dolphins' opponent next week in the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see where it goes from there. I thought Tua was fantastic today. Just some had the big connection to Jaylen Waddle, but also it's just some monster third down connections too. Kept some drives going. 21 of 24 today was supremely accurate and did a really, really great job. You got to give it up for Raheem Mostert, this dude who guiltily was looking at running back trade rumors. This guy comes in here and he breaks the franchise record for total touchdowns, 20 total touchdowns on the year. Absolutely, absolutely insane. Bradley Chubb with a 3-sack day, a forced fumble. Dude was worth every single penny today. Sorry I had to be tough on you in the pregame. It's a little Tobes tough love, baby. A little TTL. Nothing wrong with that. Chubba-dub-dub. Got in there. You were an absolute menace today. And then for the other guys getting the sack action, Wilkins and Von Ginks and Duke Riley and Emmanuel Ogbah and Sealer was all over the place. Dude's got such NFTF, nose for the football, dude. There when the fumbles are there, batting balls in the air, huge hits. He's just a menace. Love Zach Sealer, man. So well done. 10-4 on the year. The Jets take a hike. Get the hell out of here. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Zach Wilson, look, you were right, dude. Why the hell would you want to play behind that offensive line? Terrible. Hey, but maybe you'll get a cameo from Aaron Rodgers to end the year, Fireman Ed can enjoy that, and, you guys can think about how great and all the hope you had with Hard Knocks, the preseason bum version of Hard Knocks that you had. And then you can, if you missed Hard Knocks, you could tune in and you could watch this beautiful episode this week of your team getting throttled. I don't know. It's up to you. What?